You good. Hello, hello. Hello, everybody. Let's see here. We're about to get this thing started. All right. Thank you guys for joining in. Thank you guys. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Come on in. Let's see who we have on here. All right. People coming in now. I see you. I see you. Let me make sure I have it up. Where are you joining from? Where are you joining from? Come on in. Let us know. Let me see. I want to make sure I tag you in this too, LaPronda.
Okay.
All right. All right. So guys, tag somebody, tag a business owner. We need you to tag somebody in here, tag a business owner. Let us know where you're watching from. If you are a business owner, put your business link in here. We want to see, we want to promote your business. Comment below. Tell us where you're joining from and what's your business. Thank you. Thank you. About to get started. Right. All right, for those who know me, they know I like to get started on time. So let me introduce myself. Again, I am Dr. Maria, doing life with Dr. Maria. Welcome back to another Lunch and Learn. For those who do not know me, I'm a pharmacist by trade and a lifelong learner on purpose. My goal is to educate, inspire, and challenge you to see life from a different perspective. How do I do this? Well, by providing educational content through industry leaders, empowerment strategies, virtual lectures, and sharing experiences of others in hopes to empower you to embrace truth and live a purposeful life. Before we get started, please like, share, and tag a business owner. Tag a business owner. Hello, Bridget. How are you today? So I see people coming in. LaPronda, you ready? It's going to be a good show today. I'm ready for this Lunch and Learn.
I'm ready. I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous.
I'm nervous, but I'm nervous with you, honey.
Don't be nervous with me. We just
bring the A game today.
Oh, Lord. You bring your A game every day. Guys, so this Lunch and Learn is brought to you by Abundant Health and Vitality Associates. Okay. And so we're about to get started here. I see you coming in, y'all. I see y'all coming in. So again, this Lunch and Learn is brought to you by Abundant Health and Vitality Associates. So guys, when you think about the word weight loss or the words weight loss, do you automatically think starvation, difficulty, and time consuming? What if I told you guys that it doesn't have to be? Yes, you can lose weight without killing yourself at the gym. Yes, you can eat food that tastes great and makes you feel full. And yes, you can eat food that you can incorporate it into any lifestyle. They taste amazing, are easy for anyone to use. So today for our viewing audience, we do have an affiliate code for you to go ahead and try the protein shakes and bars. The affiliate code is P2P10. That is P2P10. That is for 10% off protein shakes and protein bars. Listen, guys, you don't have to kill yourself at the gym. You don't have to kill. I like to go to the gym. I'm Dr. Graham, Dr. Maria Graham. I say go to the gym. Hello, come on in, ladies. Welcome, welcome. I always tell people, look, there are healthier alternatives to the snacks that you're eating. Abundant Health and Vitality Associates is a Black-owned business, and they provide great protein shakes and meal replacements. So I want you guys to go and check them out. The link will be provided below. And for our viewing audience, there is a code P2P10. You get 10% off, and there are some exclusions that apply, okay? So also I want to say this, I have to say this. Have you been counted? Okay? Have you guys been counted? Have you been counted for the census? All right. You need to do your census. You need to do it. I need you to get on and do the census. It's not too late. It doesn't take that long. It might have taken me 10 minutes, if that. I know sometimes it's a negative connotation behind doing the census, but this is how we get funding in our neighborhood. So I want to put that out there. And it's important because, look, we have Lain Consultants on today, and we're going to be talking about government certifications, government contracts. So I just want to also mention about the census. All right. So with further ado, I want to introduce you to our guest, our industry expert today, LaPronda Spann. We met a couple of years ago doing some events together, but prior to those events, we met at a networking event, and she was talking about government certifications and government contracts. And I said, well, wait a minute. What is that? I thought I knew everything, though. I thought I knew a lot surrounding business because it's my business to help you be in business, right? And so when we started talking about government contracts and the like of about the representation in some of these arenas, we really sat down and had a conversation, and she helped our family become certified in business. So I always like to go to her and ask her questions. She is the industry expert. And I just want to say thank you for taking your time out today to joining us. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. First, let me say happy Juneteenth, everybody. I am a proud Black woman, and I'm more proud of my people today than ever, just from the response that's been going on in this world after George Floyd and even after the gentleman in Atlanta. So I want to say happy Juneteenth. I am happy to be here. I'm always willing to share what I know, what little I know, I say, about government certifications and contracting. For those of you who don't know me, my name is LaPronda Spann, and I'm the owner, dream builder, and chief visionary architect of Lain Consulting LLC. We are a full-service, award-winning consulting firm, and we specialize in small business certification support, supplier growth planning, because we want you to grow once you get certified, program development. I'm always willing to teach around this space because too many of us don't know about it. And then also government contracting, because I am a government contractor. So I am a product of my own services. I am not only certified, but I also land contracts pretty regularly. And most people don't know about it. Most of my people don't know about it. And so I am always willing to share as much as I know. So Maria, do you want us to go into our slides and what's next?
Yes, go into the slides and, tell us, well, get us started. What are we learning here today on this Lunch and Learn?
Yes. So are you going to share the slides, or do you want me to bring them up?
Go ahead, bring them up, girl. You're the industry expert. Go ahead.
Have you shared your screen with me already?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Okay, let me get on my job and pull these slides up for you really quickly. Okay, so I'm the worst when it comes to.
It's okay. If I need to, I can.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. So am I share my entire screen?
You're gonna share it with you should just see two of us, and then it should say half a screen. Do you see that?
It says application window and Microsoft Edge tab, and then your entire screen.
It's okay. I'll share it. Give me 1 second. Hello, guys. Come on, tell us where you're joining in from. I need you to tag a business owner. As I get these slides up, I need you to tag a business owner. Let us know if you own a business. Let us know if you own one. I want to know what your business is, where you're calling in from.
Yes, and I actually want to know, because when I see where you're from and what business you have and the service you offer, it helps me to be able to answer some questions and say yes or no, that I've seen contracts and awards in this area or not. Because I think many people are unaware of the opportunities, and they don't even realize that the government may buy their product or service. So thank you for asking people to put their information in.
And let me know, guys, can you see this shared screen? Let me know. Type 1 if you can see it. Type 2 if you can't. I just want to make sure everybody's able to see the screen. All right.
Are they coming in?
They're coming in. I can see the screen, so your slides are up.
Awesome. Okay, so am I going to control them, or are you going to move
I
them?
could just let me go, and I can control them for you. So you're good.
Okay.
Just let me know.
So I want to talk to you a little bit today about the small business certification and how to use government contracting to pivot your small business, especially during COVID-19. If you saw in my introduction, I mentioned that many people really kind of got decimated in this whole shutdown. However, there are many of us who are certified and are on government contracts that continue to work even through the shutdown. And so I think it's important today that we talk a little bit about that. You go to the next slide, Maria.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of your objectives for today, I want to share a little bit about my story because I want you to understand how it may relate to what you do too. I'll share my journey in entrepreneurship and government contracting. I'll talk a little bit about what the small business certification is, because some of you probably didn't even know there was a certification. And if you did, you don't know what to do next. And so I want to talk about why it may be of interest to you. I also want to talk about the types of certifications, give you a brief overview of the steps going from getting certified to landing your first or next contract. I'll talk a little bit about what's required in the packages that you have to submit to get certified. And then I'll even give you a little summary of what some of the government's contracting, purchasing, and spending looks like. And I think hopefully that'll open your eyes to what the government really spends. Go to the next one, Maria. So we talked about who's in the room. Some of you were sharing who you are and what you do. And so we'll get back to that shortly because I just wanted to know who was in the room. But I will say this. There is typically a small business certification or an agency that has small business certification services in every single state in the U.S. So wherever you are, I can assure you, I see Tennessee in here. Of course, Charlotte does have it. So wherever you are, I can assure you that just about every single city and state has a certification process. So you can keep going. So Lain Consulting, we are an award-winning consulting firm, as I mentioned to you. I have several certifications. I am certified to do business with the state of North Carolina as what they call a hub certified firm. I have what they call a minority-owned business enterprise, or what we call MBE certification with the city of Charlotte. I have the Section 3 business concern with the Charlotte Housing Authority, because I think some of you don't even know that the Charlotte Housing Authority or housing authorities also has certification and contracts. I also am certified with the North Carolina Department of Transportation as a small professional services firm. And then I also have the North Carolina Department of Transportation's Disadvantaged Business Enterprise certification. So there are several certifications. We call it the alphabet soup. And then at the federal level, I have the certification as a woman-owned small business. The awards that my company won in 2014, we were selected as the Minority Business Enterprise of the Year by the City of Charlotte and Mecklenburg County. In 2016, we received an award from the Women's Business Center of North Carolina. We were the Rising Star for that year. I've received other awards based on the work I do locally, but a lot of it has come from not only getting certified and landing government contracts, but also being willing to share and educate others on it. And we can go to the next slide, Maria. So here's just a summary of my services. We certainly provide startup assistance because many people don't know where to begin when they're looking to get their businesses up and going. So I certainly can help with that. And for me, that is a pivotal moment because it's the place where people have made the decision to bet on themselves. And so I'm always happy to assist people with startup. I certainly do small business certifications. I can do it at the local, state, and federal level. We provide small business marketing tools because most of the time in government and major corporations, it's not necessarily about submitting your business cards and going to networking events. It's about what we call a capability statement. That's the marketing tool that's used when you're looking to do business with government and major corporations. I assist with business development for small businesses. So some of my business owners say, LaPronda, I don't want to beat the bushes trying to figure out who I need to talk to. I'm going to hand that over to you for you to open that door for us to walk into, sit down and have the conversation to explore potential opportunities for our company. So I help with business development. That's more of a new service that I provide. And then the government typically hires me to help with research and engagement, public outreach, and then technical assistance and support. So I've been on contracts, whether it's a disparity study or whether it is working with departments within the city of Charlotte's government to help them make sure that they're spending money with those of us that are certified. Because a lot of times they fail to meet their contracting goals, and they're supposed to spend a certain amount of money with those of us who have the minority, woman-owned, or small business enterprise certification. You can keep going over there. So I'll tell you a little bit about my story, and I think many of you can relate. So I won't give you the sob story and pull out the violin. But for many of us, I was the daughter of a single parent. My mother was a teenager when she had me. In fact, she was pregnant graduating high school. So I clearly remember those pictures. My father was absent, but I finished with a master's degree even as a single parent. My daughter just graduated high school. And the big thing for me is my mother was an educator. She taught school for 33 years. So education was big. So I don't care what your circumstances were, you fill yourself with knowledge and skills, and it can take you anywhere. And so I value education. I, like Dr. Maria, am a lifelong learner. I love learning. I love reading. I was a public health professional by trade for 21 years. So most of my job in corporate America is really what's going on today. It was around public health and specifically community health and how to stay safe and early prevention and detection. And so that was my life for 21 years. And then I left corporate America because I had the case of what we call a horrible boss. Oh, I shouldn't say that. I should say she was a beautiful angel, cleverly disguised as a horrible boss. How about that? But she was really the catalyst that I needed to say, you're either going to jump now and see if you can make this work, or you're going to continue to wear this mask and cope just to say you have a job. And I made the decision to jump, even as a single parent. My daughter was 9 years old when I jumped into corporate America full time, and it was off to the races from there. You can go to the next slide, Maria.
And LaPronda, just wanted to, not to cut you off, just want to let everybody know, I know some people are saying they want the slides. We will provide the slides for you as well. The link would be below in order for you to get the slides. Wow, this is powerful. One thing I just wanted to kind of, because I know we on this train, but I got to stop you right here, okay?
Okay.
You said you decided you're going to jump now to see if this works.
Mm-hmm.
I just, that right there just moved me enough, because I know there's somebody on here thinking about, or they have some questions about jumping, or, should I start this business, or should I just be content in a place of unhappiness? So just
Right.
for you to say that, I just wanted to, commend you and your transparency, because somebody has to hear that. Somebody needs to hear that. And that kind of leads into your why. So I'm going to let you take it away. I just had to say that.
Sure. So, and my why was really all about my daughter. I was working 14-hour days. We were eating out of styrofoam just about every day because I wasn't cooking. And someone else was always taking care of her. I would go on business trips and have to leave her with someone. I would have to come back and then leave again. And that, for me, that wasn't any way for me to have to raise a child. I wanted to be there for the important moments. I didn't want to keep asking for permission to get off to see my child in a play or to win an award at school, because for me, family was important. And so I made the decision to jump strictly because I wanted to be a better mother, even if that meant sacrificing the life that I knew, because I knew it would only be temporary and that I would get back to where I wanted to be. So you can go to the next slide. So this is my mini me. She is 18, just graduated last month from high school, and will be headed to UNC Greensboro in the fall.
Oh, congratulations.
So here's a little bit about my story. I can remember this date like it was yesterday, because my last day on the job was October 5th, 2012. I gave them 3 weeks notice and I left. And within a week, I went to a Charlotte Chamber meeting. At the time, it was Charlotte Chamber. It's different now. Within a week, I met someone at that event. I stood up. I didn't even know how to pitch who I was or what my business, but I said enough for someone in that room to be interested. They came over and asked me for a business card. I didn't have a business card or a website at the time. I said, but if you give me your business card, I'll make sure I'll call you. So I got her card and I did follow up. And that's the one thing I've always been good at is following up. And I followed up. I talked with her. She told me about an opportunity that came about and we talked later. However, in that same week, I had already started my side hustle before I left. And at the time, I was really working with nonprofits. I was working with nonprofits, helping them with grant writing. I had been really successful in yielding revenue for them through grants for the nonprofit. And so I let everybody know that I was leaving, and a client contracted with me within that week. So I left and landed a contract immediately with a client that I already had and had been successful in. And then the woman that I met at the chamber meeting 2 months later, after talking with her, I landed a contract with an organization that she was working with. And that contract completely replaced my monthly salary just from me throwing out a figure. And I wasn't getting paid small change. And so I was willing to take the risk and ask for what I really thought I was valued, for what I felt like I was valued at. And they agreed to the contract. And so at that point, I was like, okay, I'm on to something here. And then within that third month, I heard about certification, going to a class at CPCC Small Business Center here locally. But most of the community colleges have small business centers where they offer classes to entrepreneurs. But I went to a class and someone in there was teaching about certifications and bidding on contracts. And I walked up to him and talked to him about it, went after certification. And then once you get certified, you'll start getting emails about the different opportunities that you can bid on with local government or state government. And I saw a contract, a bidding opportunity, went to that same person who was teaching the class, because at that point he had went on his own and he started his own business. I said, do you think this is a contract that we can go after together? He said, yes. We submitted that bid and landed a contract within 90 days of getting certified. And my first contract was with the Charlotte area transit system here. I didn't realize at the time that it was a big deal. I also didn't realize that most small business owners didn't land a contract that quickly. They will tell you that it takes about 2 years for small business owners to land their first contract. I blew that theory out the water. And so that was my journey in this space. You can go to the next slide. So what is the small business certification? Well, really, the small business certification was developed to provide contractual opportunities for firms that meet the eligibility criteria. And we'll go through that in a second. But we help small businesses. It helps you to compete against others because they don't look at you as small or large. A lot of times you may be competing with entities that have been in business for a while. But remember, I hadn't been in business that long, but landed a contract in 90 days. So it doesn't eliminate the opportunities that are available to you if you know how to position yourself in your industry or market. It gives you the opportunity to participate, whether it's in construction or construction-related services, professional and other services. Now, let me be clear. I'm not in construction, although you'll see a lot of dollars flowing to construction and construction-related services. I'm in professional and other services. And even with that, there are still opportunities in government contracting and even with major corporations for you. So don't look at it and think, I don't think I fit in here anywhere, because trust me, you may fit in here somewhere. But more importantly, it allows businesses to furnish goods and supplies to local, state, and also federal government and major corporations. And we'll get into some of what that looks like as we continue to talk through the slides. Okay, you can go to the next one. So here's the alphabet soup, because there are all types of certifications. So you'll hear terms like minority-owned business, woman-owned business, small business, what we call MWSBE. And a lot of times that's typically related to city and county government. Sometimes you'll hear it at the state level. The Housing Authority, as I mentioned earlier, has a Section 3 business concern. That's a certification. The state of North Carolina has its historically underutilized business. In the state that you're in, it may depend on what they call it. But if you look up doing business in your state with that particular county or city, you'll get an idea of what they typically will call that particular certification. The Department of Transportation, that Disadvantaged Business Enterprise certification really is a federal level certification. And so even though you're getting certified in your state, it really is a federal level certification, which is a good thing to have on your, what we call the capability statement. And then we get into federal level. So they have what they call a GSA schedule. The SBA, the Small Business Administration, has what they call 8A. You can be a woman-owned small business. An EWSB, which is economically disadvantaged woman-owned small business. Many of you have heard about veteran-owned small businesses, as well as hub zone, meaning wherever your company is located, you may be in an area that they consider a hub zone, and there are actually bids and contractual opportunities set aside just because you're in those zones. And then if you are looking to do business with major corporations, then you can certainly go through the Minority Supplier Development Council. They have a national level, but in your states and towns, they typically have a regional Supplier Development Council for your area. So here in North Carolina, there's the Carolina to Virginia Minority Supplier Development Council, but they typically have one for every region across the US. So just know, if you want to do major work with major corporations, that is typically the certification that you have. Okay, you can go to the next slide, Maria. So here are the 5 steps with doing business with government, and many times with major corporation too. Because I think a lot of times we think, oh, well, I'll get certified and then they'll start chasing me down. Not quite. So the first step is getting certified. That really kind of helps the government and major corporations vet your business. There's the research that you have to do on the client, because you need to know what they buy and what they're looking for. You certainly want to market to them, but you want to market with the government's language and based on how they like to be marketed to. The relationship building is where we typically spend the bulk of our time, because you get there and you really start developing the relationships you need for them to see you as a subject matter expert in a certain area, especially when they're looking for somebody to do a certain project or contract. You really want to position yourself there, and relationship building is the way to do that. And then, of course, we start looking at, now that that's happened, how do I land my first or next contract? So that's the steps overall about getting certified and how to move through a process. But I'll hone in a little bit more. You can go to the next slide, Maria. So getting certified is really an application process. It's an application and some required documents that you have to put in the package in order for you for them to vet you. You can be, of course, you have to be a small business. You cannot be a nonprofit. So let me be clear, because people ask me that all the time. You cannot be a nonprofit, but you can be a sole proprietor. You can be an LLC, S Corp, or C Corp. You have to be a small business, a for-profit entity. Ideally, you should be in business for about 3 to 5 years. But like I said before, I landed a contract in 90 days. And so that is not necessarily true. And in order to get certified, you only have to be in business for a day in order for them to consider you for certification. So just know that. But when it comes to really becoming the subject matter expert that they look for, typically we talk on 3 to 5 years. It's helpful if your revenue is around 50,000 plus. But again, when I landed my first contract, I probably made about $16,000 to $19,000 that first year and still landed that contract. So I can't necessarily say that that's true. They do look at your personal net worth. So here in the city of Charlotte, you can't have a personal net worth of more than $750,000. Now I know all these rich folks on here probably thinking, well, darn, I don't qualify because I make way too much money. But just know that this is an opportunity for those who have a personal net worth under $750,000 to be a part of the program. And part of it is because it's so much money that flows in this program that many millionaire or multi-million-dollar companies will really try to take advantage of it. So they put some parameters around that. And then with the state here, it's 1.2 million. But depending on the state that you're in, they will tell you what their threshold is as in terms of what your personal net worth should be. Your company has to be at least 51% owned by a minority and or woman, especially if you're looking to be a minority owned or woman owned business. Now, if you're a small business, then it's irrelevant. It's just a small business certification. But if you're looking for the minority owned business enterprise certification or the woman owned small business certification, 51% owned. You can be 100% owner, that's fine, but at least 51% owner if you want that particular certification. And then you can be a solopreneur, a micropreneur. You can have 1 to 49 employees or 50 plus employees. That doesn't really matter. They're really going to look at the revenue. They're going to look at whether you have a lot of the credentials and the required documents that are needed for them to vet you. You can go to the next slide, Maria. So what are the benefits of getting certified? Because you're like, LaPronda, if I'm going to jump through all of these hoops, then there sure better be a reason. for me to have to do all of this? Well, number one, small business certification really is all about being able to grow and scale your business, hire employees, and sustain your company long term. It is an opportunity for you to position yourself to do business with the government and for success in landing contracts. You get to diversify your revenue because I think many people got swept up in being a one note during the shutdown. So if your only clientele was small businesses and you hadn't diversified your revenue, many of us got decimated in that process. But if you can diversify your revenue and have some of your monies coming from an anchor like a government or major corporation, and some coming from other avenues such as small business owners or retail like books and things of that nature, you have an opportunity to kind of balance it out. And so this really is an opportunity to either diversify your revenue and or provide an anchor for you. So here's some examples of my own success in this space. I've been a part of what they call a Minority Women Business Enterprise Disparity Study. In fact, I've been on 3 of them. So I won with one company here, and what they hired me to do was really to handle interviews, transcriptions, and reporting with small business owners and prime contractors and consultants. They were assessing how well people were doing in not only being aware of government contracts, but also landing contracts and them spending money with them. I've done DBE certification assistance. So for those who are going after getting certified as a disadvantaged business enterprise with the Department of Transportation, I was able to go out and do case reviews based on their applications, assess it, make sure that all the documents were in there, and then do a site visit to make sure, number one, that they were who they said they were. Number 2, that they really own the company, because you'd be very surprised at the people that try to tiptoe into this program because of so much money. And then you go and you realize this really isn't the wife's company, it's her husband's. He just wants to be in a program because he's not eligible for it. So this gives you an opportunity. So I've been on those programs and on the other side of getting people certified and help making the recommendation of whether they should be certified. I have clients who have landed contracts on the I-77 toll road here in Charlotte that just got, that they are almost finished with here. They landed that contract. They were on there for about 4 years. I think they were dump truck services. And I think they made like $4 million over that 3.5 years. So that's the amount of money that can come through this. And then I've had a contract with Charlotte Water. I have others who have been have projects with Charlotte Water, supporting other small business owners on getting certified, giving them outreach and engagement to get them in front of the right people so that they know who to talk to when they're looking to go after contracts. So that's some of the success that I've had, as well as some of my clients. You can go to the next slide, Maria. So here's what they don't tell you. There's this thing called formal contracts in government and major corporations versus informal. Formal means that there's a certain, if the contract itself is over a certain amount, they have to make it public. Mm-hmm. So it has to be emailed to people who are on the email list. They have to put it on their website. They have to share this publicly. So in the city of Charlotte, for example, if you're a professional or providing supportive services, anything over $100,000 has to be public for people to see and know about. If it's $99,900, then it would fall under informal, and they never have to make it public. What they do is they request quotes from those that they know, like, and trust. And sometimes they'll go down that certification list to see if they can find a person who meets the criteria for that contract. Most of us don't know that. Same thing with construction. In construction, I think it's now up to $500,000. If it's $500,000 or above, they have to make it public. If it's under that threshold, they don't. Can you imagine that, Maria? $499,000 contract, and they don't have to make it public. They can pick up the phone and call you and say, "Do you pave roads? We got this contract here. Can you give us a bid?" And the public never knows. They can request 3 quotes. They can go request 3 quotes, or they can even go to a lowest quote. And then there's the thing that they call a sole source contract. Now, I'll be very honest. One of my contracts was a sole source contract, meaning I sat down with the director of a department. They said, LaPronda, this is what the problems that we're having. This is what we need. Can you do this? I said, absolutely, I can. And if I can't, I'm going to figure it out, right? And after that, they said, we need a proposal from you in 2 to 3 days. I'm sorry, 2 weeks. It only has to be 2 to 3 pages. Now, if anybody knows anything about government contracts, they can be 20 to 50 pages easy, depending on all that they're asking for. They only asked me for 2 to 3 pages. They wanted it submitted in 2 weeks. I had no competition. They signed off in 2 weeks. That's how you leverage this space. When you start building relationships, you get your certification. They don't tell you that, but I'm telling you this how this works.
So let me ask you a question, not to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So with that being said, it pretty much is safe to say that if we don't have this information, or you can be we're already at a disadvantage because of some of how it's set up. Is that correct?
Yes, some of it is that way.
Okay.
Some of it is that we don't know what questions to ask.
Okay.
That's why I make it a point to share as much as I've learned, because I ran around for 2 years trying to figure it out because we don't know all of this. Luckily, I wouldn't go away. I was like the pest that just was not going to go away. And I was going to keep asking the questions until I figured it out. And so I was fortunate, but I also wanted to make it easier and to take the lid off of what our small business owners, especially my minority-owned businesses, should be doing in this space to really go after the contract. There are certain things that they are not, if you don't know to ask this question, they don't necessarily come right out and tell you that. But just know that that is typically how this works. There are formal versus informal contracts. And if you don't make it a point to build relationships in this space, you'll never get to the informal contracts. Again, in professional and other services, anything under $100,000 in the city of Charlotte is considered informal. They never have to bid it out. But that can change a person's business, because that one contract alone can anchor a business for long term. It helps you to leverage other things, hire employees. But some cities and towns, they may be smaller than that. If it's $30,000 plus, they make them formally bid it out. But if it's $25,000, they don't have to. So these are the things that they typically don't necessarily get up and share. But sometimes this is how this works. So just please know that this is a part of the process that I want more of us to be aware of. So if you don't like talking to people, you better figure it out, because the relationship building piece is really critical, and it's how you become the person that they go to for the informal contracts. You can go to the next slide.
Okay. And just to add on that, I know you were talking about like meeting people and speaking with people. Do you suggest, because I know you said something earlier about like networking and attending networking events. Did you start at networking events, or because I know you said that you asked a lot of questions, you went different places. Like for someone who's saying, okay, I don't know where to go, I don't know who to talk to, what advice would you give them then?
So here's what happens is a lot of times people get certified and they think, oh, they're going to come looking for me. They're going to send you an email about bids, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you know what to do next. And I have not received anything on paper with them giving you welcome to the program. Here's what you need to do next. It's welcome to the program, but that's about it. And so what typically should happen is in every city or government, county or state government agency, there is what we call the MWBE program manager or a supplier diversity specialist. They are the first point of contact when you're getting certified. That's who you need to make it a point to get to know. That is the first meeting that you should have once you have your certification, or while you're waiting for your certification to be approved, because you want to go meet with them to ask a bunch of questions that people typically don't tell you to ask. And I'll go into a little bit of that shortly, but they are the gatekeepers. But they also are the gatekeepers that can get you to the decision maker, which is the person that writes the check and can sign the contract. Or they can also get you to the prime contractors or prime consultants, which are the agencies that the government typically hires that can bring you in to carry out a certain aspect of a contract. They are the gatekeepers that hold a lot of that information. So if I have any place that I tell my folks to start, it's as you're getting certified or once you're getting certified, make it a point to meet with them. Introduce yourself, tell them your name, the business name, the services that you offer, and request a face-to-face meeting. Now, in COVID-19, we can't really do that, meeting with them in person, but you can do a virtual chat if they'll agree to that. And if you can't get that, then at least try to get a phone call, but face-to-face is always better. And you may or may not get warm and fuzzy right away, but if you continue with it, and if they give you homework, make sure you do the homework. Like they may say, call this person or do this thing. When they give you that information, sometimes they're testing you to see how serious you really are and whether you're going to take their resources and leverage that to get what you need done so that you can, go to the next level. If they see that they've given you information and you've done nothing with it, then they really kind of determine that you're not serious, maybe you're not ready, and that you may want to just find another way to diversify your revenue and build your revenue. But they are the first point of contact. They can get you to decision makers and to your prime contractors or consultants. Now, I will go back to the question you had, Maria, about networking. Let me be clear. I don't go to networking events. And the reason I say that is because most of the time, your decision makers are not in that room. If the easiest way to determine what room you need to be in is if everybody that's in that room is in survival mode, you're in the wrong room. I'll be honest. I do a lot of breakfast, a lot of lunch, a lot of dinner. People do golf with folks. They do after-hour events, cigar. I've heard people say they go do cigar events and things of that nature with a decision maker. Because a lot of times they're not at outreach events and they're not at networking events.
Now, let me ask you, LaPronda, now, people are asking, can you repeat the name again of the person that you should have a meeting with? They missed that.
Yes. So we call them MWSBE, program managers or coordinators. So minority women, small business enterprise, program managers or coordinators. And in some places, they may be called supply diversity specialists or directors. So you'll hear those two terms quite a bit. Now, in smaller towns and cities, they may just be a contracting officer or a procurement coordinator that's doing double duty. So you may hear those terms as well. But that's some of the language that government has, because the government does have its own language. So I can't say that it's always user friendly. That's why you have me and others who teach these types of classes to just kind of break this down for you.
Yeah, that's good. And one thing I wanted to point out, one thing that you did say, that you don't really go to networking events. And honestly, I'm just going to say this to everybody. I've gone to several networking events, and I've only seen LaPronda at one. And at that event, I think it was like God sent. She just started talking to me randomly about, have you heard about government contracts and certifications? And I'm like, no, tell me more, And so with that being said, I just wanted to really to piggyback off of her. The next time I saw her was at a government event. That was the next time. And I followed her steps. She told me to go here. I was there. She said, Maria, do this. I was there. And that afforded me to be on certain committees here, even in the city of Charlotte, that I might have never been able to be on unless I followed the steps that she gave us. So thank you for that. So continue on. I just wanted to add that in.
Sure. So just to give you an idea of what's being spent here in the city of Charlotte, for example. In 2018, they spent about $400,000. I'm sorry, $400 million, excuse me, in the city of Charlotte. 110 million of that was with those of us who were certified. I was fortunate to be one of them. Now, I didn't get the whole 110 million, but I got a teeny crumb of that pie. And in 2017, same thing. They spent, I don't know, I'm not sure what they spent overall. They spent about 81 million with those of us who were certified. Why? Because they have to meet contracting goals. They're really trying to make this process more fair and equitable. And each year that I've been in this process, it's gotten better and better. A lot of your leadership has changed and look more like us. They're making things more accessible to us. There's a little more transparency. It's slow, but they're making it, partly because there are a few of us who are really vocal about making sure that we have an opportunity in this space. There are people who don't share. Let me be clear. There are some of us who have been successful in this space and we don't want to share because we're scared to share $5. I don't want you to have $5 because that means you're taking the $5 from me. And sometimes that scarce and lacks scarcity mentality really kind of hinders us, because I'll continue to say we can do more together than apart. And I've been partnering with people on projects and contracts for quite some time. And so my contract with the city of Charlotte led me to partner with that same team in the city of Asheville. And then because of my success there, I was brought onto a contract in the city of Winston-Salem, because at some point your reputation gets out about you being effective and being able to do certain things. So you really can become a subject matter expert in this space. And so I challenge people to step your game up and pursue this. You don't have to know all the questions to ask. You don't have to answer, have all the answers right away, but it helps you figure out how you fit into this space when you know. So I'll keep going. You can go to the next slide. So here's some ways that I've diversified my revenue just with government. On average, my sale with government is typically around $35K. And a lot of times my contracts are typically 4 to 6 months, and I'm only working 10 to 20 hours a month. Now do the math on that about what they're paying hourly. So you keep asking for $20 when they can pay you $200 and $400 an hour, and what your billable rate is. So just know that that's the type of money. They have 6-figure contracts all the time. They have even larger than that. This is a way for you to diversify your revenue. I had a recent contract that was $18,900. It was for 2 months. I spent about 20 hours, and the contract was this. They hired me to do public outreach and engagement. There were 3 days that they did public outreach and engagement, 3 community meetings. In each of those meetings, I had to drive from here to Winston-Salem, help with registration, set everything up, bring in the transcription, is to record the entire thing, pack up, drive back in home to my house from Winston-Salem, which is an hour away. Every day that I sat down and did that, they paid me $5,000 per day. That's the $5,000 per event to do public outreach and engagement. Y'all play too much, so y'all keep chasing $20. I'm gonna go out here and get this money. Or as my sister says, I'm gonna go out here and get these coins. Okay.
Right. But it's good to know this, like to see your story, because we really don't. It's not emphasized about these contracts and the importance of certification. Just that alone. I know there are, and I want y'all to tag another business. Let me say this first. I need you to tag a business owner. I need you to tag a small business owner. I need you to tag a minority business owner. I need them to be in this conversation right now, because what she is giving you is valuable information. This can change. If you tell me how much again you said, LaPronda, that you got each day?
5,000.
How much was?
I drove up an hour, sat for 2 hours, got back on my car for an hour. That's 4 hours. They pay me $5,000 a day.
What can your business do with an additional $5,000? Now, I'm not saying every business is going to get the same contracts, and that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we're trying to help you get a seat at the table. And if you know a business owner who needs this information, I need you to tag them in here. I need you to tag them. All right, LaPronda, go ahead, girl. You know I get on my soapbox. You know this is my thing, so go ahead.
I just want us to stop being bottom feeders. Is that fair to say? It's not to offend anybody, but I think we keep our bar too low. It's way too much money out here. Now, my average sale with my small business owners is only $500, and typically that's people buying 2 certifications from me for me to help them with their certification. And I keep it low because I get most of my money from government contracting, because I want people to get certified and understand how to travel this journey and potentially land a contract, whether it's a subcontract or a prime contract with, or a consulting role with a government agency. So I keep it small. I probably could do more, but I don't. And then currently I have a contract with the North Carolina Department of Transportation, where they're hiring me to assess businesses and then help them create business plans to be able to better do business with the Department of Transportation. That one is a few more hours. I was brought in at the 11th hour. We didn't even think the contract was going to happen, but it did. So I'm spending a little more time there. But this is constant. And I signed this contract in the middle of COVID-19. So I'm working now. I just rolled off a contract about 2 weeks ago. And so it's constant. Again, you position yourself as a subject matter expert, and you help the relationship be mutually beneficial between you and the government agency. You're helping them solve problems. And so they value that. You're helping them understand how to better work with us, or how to, whether it's create a product or provide a service, you provide value to them as well. So position yourself in that way. You want to go to the next slide, Maria? Mm-hmm. All right, and we're coming to the end, y'all. So here's the type of work that, again, that I've been contracted to do. As a subcontractor, as I mentioned before, I was on disparity studies. So I was scheduling work with small business owners, doing in-depth interviews. I was recording it, auto recording it. I hired a transcription on it. Transcription is to capture a lot of the information, and then had to do a write-up and report. And then I was able to participate in public meetings, and we talked a little bit about that. I've done site visits and interviews to report and recommend people for certification for the Department of Transportation. Again, these are things that many of you on this chat can do. This isn't anything that requires a scientist. This is really something that many of us can do. So how do you position yourself to be the person that they go to and believe that you can do this? So just know that this is some of the work. And again, I was a subcontractor, meaning I was hired under a larger agency to carry out these particular projects under that bigger entity. You can go to the next slide, Maria. Okay. So here's some things that the government purchases. And I'm not saying this because I went down a list and just decided that this is something that I need to tell you. I'm telling you because I know people who are actually receiving contracts where the government is really purchasing from them. So they purchase concrete, drywall, they purchase hauling services. They don't have enough minority-owned plumbers. They don't have enough minority-owned electrical contractors.
Hold on, wait a minute, LaPronda. Give me 1 second, because I got to stop. If you know a plumber, I need you to get them on here. If you know, go ahead. I just want to let them know, because this is good. Go ahead.
They hire painters, so they paint all the time. Whether it's painting a building, whether it's striping in the roads. I think there's only one striping company that's a minority-owned business here. They hire landscapers all the time. One of the companies that I work with locally, African-American-owned business, he got his certifications, pitched to the Charlotte Water Department, and landed a 6-year contract. 6 years. What does that do for his revenue going forward? When 6 years, you know that this revenue is going to come consistently year to year. That just makes a big difference. He can hire people and know that the revenue is going to come in. And a lot of times we're billing monthly. They do construction cleanup. So anytime they have businesses that they're building or commercial airports, they have somebody that comes in and cleans up in construction. There are not enough minority-owned engineers. They hire marketers, traditional and digital. So if you're a social media manager on here, they hire them all the time on projects. If you do web design and development, everything is transitioning into technology. So somebody's always upgrading a website or doing more things around e-commerce. They hire caterers a lot. If the government doesn't do anything else, they eat a lot in their meetings. How do you think our city council are getting food during their meetings, or their county commissioners are getting food? So they hire caterers all the time. As I mentioned, I did public outreach and engagement. They hire temporary staffing. They even hire proposal writers. So if you're a grant writer, they even hire you. I can go on and on about the things that they hire, but just know that somewhere in there, they are probably going to hire something that you do. The only time that I haven't seen them hire certain things is when it's been around like entertainment, like somebody is a music producer. Like I haven't seen that, but I do see them hire DJs for events like park events or volunteer award ceremonies and things of that nature. So just know that there are some opportunities in that. You can go to the next slide.
And y'all, this is good to know, like, just to see. It's not just because sometimes when I think people think it's a misconception between like just construction or transportation when they talk about government contracts. But I mean, you can see from the list here, that is so many different ways to get into the government. Now I know I'm trying to look, I see some questions coming up. They said that, do you assist in Atlanta, Georgia as well?
Yes.
Okay.
So Georgia overall, because actually that was where your family was from, Maria.
Yep.
So your family was in Georgia, and so we definitely got them certified to do business with major corporations in Georgia. So I can do it anywhere. And I see my girlfriend Cassie is on here. I've helped her with her paperwork. She's actually becoming a nonprofit, but I helped her paperwork in Georgia. I have clients in Florida, Washington State, California, South Carolina, like you name it. If it's online, I can do it. So just know that anywhere you are, we can certainly find out where you are and help you with your paperwork, because it really is, it's paperwork. It's helping us through the process. Last thing is goods and supplies. Somebody asked on here, Maria, what about publicists? So I can't necessarily say they hire publicists. I do know they hire PR, which typically your publicists handle. And a lot of times that will come out of your corporate communications. So within departments within government, that's typically where it will come out. It's either a public relations department or a corporate communications department is probably where I would guide you. But again, that's where your MWSBE program manager, coordinator, or your supply diversity director can direct you into which departments buy what I sell. Okay. Goods and supplies. They buy pens, pencils, paper, computers, toilet paper, paper towels, you name it. So those of you who sell goods, the government buys that too. Major corporations buy that too. You can go to the next slide, Maria.
All right. Just to comment on that, make sure I have it. Yes, we've been afforded different opportunities. Let me back up for those who do not know. I know I wear many hats, but one of the hats that I wear, I am part owner of a family business, and we do sustainable promotional items. And with that being said, a lot of the governments are trying to decrease their carbon footprint. And so they already have allotted dollars for minority business owners. So it has allowed us the fortune to go in and bid for those contracts for T-shirts and water bottles and all these things that we service. We've been able to work with major corporations with within their diversity and inclusion program because of this certification. So just wanted to put that out there.
So thank you, Maria. So somebody else was asking, are there opportunities for tutoring companies and childcare organizations? So I would say this, I can't necessarily say that. I will say that Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools has a vendor registration. You would have to be certified with the city of Charlotte. And then Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools, you would work with their supplier diversity specialists or their MWSBE program coordinators to determine the path that you go through in landing some tutoring services for kids. I mean, because a lot of times these kids are behind. And so what do you offer them that's different and can yield results where they see a difference in kids, especially now since, these kids have been home since March. So they're already concerned about learning loss during the summer. Now you're talking about from March through August. So what will you offer them that helps many of these kids who didn't have a lot of the technology at home, who didn't have parents that could provide the support that they needed to get through the school year, help them increase their reading scores, their math scores, etc. That's different and true. That's a little bit, what is your twist on that? And let me also say this, government contracts are public information. So any contract that I've won, any contracts that's been won for tutoring or childcare, if they exist, is public information. That's where your MWSBE program manager or your supply diversity specialist within government can help you. Because you can go in and ask, what contracts were awarded in whatever area you're in marketing, in PR, in whatever that is? When was the last 3 contracts awarded? How do I get a copy of the winning proposals? It's public information. They have to be transparent, and they can tell you that. What does that do for you? It helps you position yourself to know what your competitive advantage should look like, how you should price it, because whether you all know it or not, the government has its own calculator. They're not going to tell you that either. So I can tell you online where to go find out how much you should be billing them. You don't charge $20, trust me. But all of these are things that if you don't know to go in and ask these questions, they may not share that with you. So this is just a part of it. So I'll go into my final tips, and then if there are other questions that people have, we can certainly go through these, Maria. So again, government certifications are fee-free. There is no filing fee. However, if you apply with the Minority Supplier Development Council, there is. It's $400 to file, and then you have to pay to renew every year. But the government certifications, there is no filing fee. People pay me if they want me to do their certification, but there's no filing fee. Certification is not based on your credit, because look here, back in 2012, if they'd have looked at my credit, they'd have denied me the first time I applied. So trust me, credit is not even brought into the picture. This is it's purely based on the service that you offer and you're being a subject matter expert. Certifications alone are not enough. So again, the government is not going to come hunt you down. They're not going to come knock on the door. They may send you bids every now and then, but just know that that certification is just the first step in this process. I showed you the 5 steps that it typically takes to go through this process to land your first or next contract. You can get certified even if you've been in business for a day. I said that before. So depending on what state you're in, many states have different criteria. In North Carolina, you can be in business for an hour and get your certification, as long as you can give them the package with all the information. And I'll say this over and over again, it should not take you 2 years to land your first contract. It should not take you 2 years to land your first contract. They hire subject matter expertise. So just because you see contracts in construction and you've never had experience in construction, they're not going to hire you, because they're not going to let you botch taxpayers' dollars. You focus on your area of expertise, because if you do a great job, they'll hire you for others. They'll come to you and start asking you, do you do this? Can you do that? Or can you find somebody that can do it? We'll pay you and you can just hire them. Like, they'll come and start asking you if you have quality and professionalism and excellence in everything you do as a subject matter expert in whatever your area is. So just know there's so much opportunity, y'all. I hope this has given you a wealth of information. I know it was a lot, and there's so much more that I could share, but I hope that you will even consider getting certified and going after government contracts.
Wow, that was amazing. Like, y'all, I want you to go back and listen to this too. Watch it again. This is what we do, these lunch and learns, and I thank you for coming on again. I'm going to definitely have some people come over. I see some questions here, so I want to make sure I get questions. So let's see. Miss Allen said, "Where's the application for the city of Charlotte?"
So they have a new platform. It's an online platform. It's called CharlotteDiversityCompliance.com, I believe is what it is. Don't quote me on it. I'll give it to Maria and make sure she shares that with you all. But they have an online platform. And the name of Charlotte's, the city of Charlotte's program is the Charlotte Business Inclusion Program. So you can Google it and it should pop up and it'll give you more information about how to apply. But it's called Charlotte Business Inclusion if you're in the city of Charlotte.
Very good. So guys, what we're going to do today, and this is my first time doing this, but I knew this was so important. It is Juneteenth. We are celebrating June 19th. And the way we're doing it here with Doing Life with Dr. Maria, we're having someone come on to help you get your business to that next level. One thing LaPronda is, she tells me all the time, hey, get it right, get your stuff right. If it didn't look right, if it doesn't look right, she'll let you know, because she cares that much. You know, it's one thing to hear somebody's story, but for her to come in and she always say, okay, this is what you need to do. This is how I can help you. When I first even got here in the city of Charlotte, trying to get into this area or arena, that many people don't want you in, right? I mean, let's just be honest. I'm just going to call a spade, right? And for her to come in and say, no, this is how it's done, or Maria, let's look at it from this aspect, or let me help you. She's here to help you with this. So I'm going to do something new that we have never done before, but I'm so passionate about this and making sure we get your business to the next level. We are going to put the link in here for people to join to ask her questions. Okay. People are saying, thank you. So if you have a question and you want to join us live right now, we are going to put the link in for you to join us right now to ask her questions in real time.
Be nice, y'all.
Y'all be nice. Yeah, be nice. Be nice. Be nice. Let me see if we can get the link. right. Try to look for you. Right, there we go. Thank you, Bridget, so much. Thank you, guys. Bridget is here today, helping us today as our moderator, so I do thank you. If you want to come on, let me know, because we got a couple more minutes, a couple more seconds, and then I'm going to end this. And if you haven't subscribed to the Doing Life with Dr. Maria email list, please do, because we're going to show the replay and we're going to have the slides available for you. You need to get the slides available so that this is good. So LaPronda, one thing, what is the takeaway that you want business owners to get right now?
Jump in. Just have the courage to jump in. I don't care if you feel like it'll look crazy. Now, let me be very clear. I wasn't always this articulate speaker. I was never comfortable being out front. In fact, 3 years ago, I took a speaker's class because I would get to a place where before I even had to go on and speak, I would get migraines. And then by the time I was finished, I would be in the bed for the rest of the day. Like, that's how much, but I would always do it. I would just do it afraid. And I know that there's somebody on here who feels like I don't know how to speak a certain way, or I don't know enough about my business or whatever. I'm a student. And so I would say, master your craft. Whatever you do, make sure you master your craft. You need to know it better than the people that you're going to sit across from. In fact, you need to tell them how you can make it better, because they don't know how to. And a lot of times they really don't. You are the subject matter expert. One of the ladies within government said, if we knew all the solutions to the problems that we have, we would have solved them by now. So that's why we hire you all to come in and help guide us through this process, because we don't know everything. So how do you position yourself to be the expert in this space? Trust me, you can, but it's taken me 5 years to really, really master this. And now I'm 7 years in, and I feel much more comfortable, but I was willing to do the work to get to this place where I can share and support many of my small business owners in growing their businesses. It doesn't happen overnight. I think many people want to hit the home run and make $1 million right away. Right. Hell, they haven't even handled their own personal budget that way. So, let's be realistic here. But I would definitely say take steps and strategies to get there. Step by step, little by little, it shows up. I'm not here by accident. This happened since 2012. So just please know that it takes time, but I'm so willing to share what I know, because I want to see more of us in this space. I shouldn't be standing up here, just me and Maria. Like, I need to see more people standing next to us who have success stories in this space.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me see here. Now we have one question, says the CMS contract is through business inclusion?
No. So, but you have to be certified with the city of Charlotte, and then you have to become a vendor. You have to get the certification first and then become a vendor with Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools. But again, that's where your gatekeeper helps you with that. Start with the gatekeeper, that MWSBE program coordinator in the city of Charlotte's certification program. And then they can guide you from there what you need to do next.
All right. And last call for questions. We put the link in there. I'm going to put the link in there one more time before we end this. Again, thank you so much. I do have a comment listed. They said Black Speakers Network is a start for helping with public speaking. All right, Black Speakers Network, I want y'all on the Lunch and Learn. Come on, get in contact with us today. I would love to have you guys come on to help us in that area of public speaking. It's all about education, empowerment, and challenging you to the next level in your business. So come on, get on as well. And again, thank you. They're saying thank you, LaPronda. I don't know if you see all the comments, but they're saying thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely, girl. Anytime you want to come back. Again, thank you guys for tuning in today to our Lunch and Learn. We do this at least once a month, but we do a show every Friday at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Okay, we feature small business owners. We interview industry experts. We interview physicians, because I'm a pharmacist by trade. So we talk about health in the minority community. We talk about anything and everything dealing with us in our community. I'm so glad that you guys joined us today. Join us next Friday at 12:30. We're going to be talking about should you buy a house during the pandemic? So we're going to have an industry expert on talking about purchasing a home. If you know someone who's thinking about purchasing a home, or they have some questions surrounding the pandemic and what does it mean for real estate in this time, I need you to be on here next Friday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standing Time. And the link is not working for you. Okay, let me try. Okay, give me 1 second. Let me try to put it in again. Hold on. Let me see if it's going to go. See if that works. See if that works for you. Let me know. Let's try. So when you click on the link, it's going to take you to another broadcasting studio, and then I'll be able to add you in here. See if that works.
I'm getting all kind of questions, Maria.
Okay, go ahead.
While you're doing that, so one question was, what areas would a nurse apply? So I have several people in the healthcare area. In Mecklenburg County here, the county handles all health and human services. In the state of Georgia and the city of Atlanta, which is where this question is coming from, that's where you focus on your MWSB program, because you need to know who handles the health and human services component. And then from there, you can start exploring what contracts are available in healthcare. So I've seen everything from nurse aid contracts, in-home aid, health specialists. I saw one recently for those of you who are in fitness. They had a physical fitness activities and something else contract, recreation contract. And they were looking for exercise specialists. So there are all, like I said, the government will buy everything. Sometimes you have to chase it a little bit and ask the right questions. But there are so many opportunities within. It's just about asking the questions to get to it.
Sorry about asking questions. If you let me see, I want to see if they can get on, but I don't see them on here. Please, if you do have questions, send them to us. We will definitely get those questions answered. One thing about LaPronda, she is good about answering questions. Okay. We have all her information as well available. Please subscribe for updates and the slides. We will have those available for you. Okay, somebody just said, what about Medicare opportunities?
I can't go into a lot of detail, depending on the state that they're in. I know here in North Carolina, with the state level is the Department of Health and Human Services. North Carolina has its own Department of Health and Human Services. In fact, that's where most of us are getting COVID-19 live press releases every single day, press conferences every single day. They handle that. In fact, they just had a COVID tracing and contacting contract that just came out. They were looking for people that could supply that. So Medicaid, Medicare typically is under DHHS, and then they have, I think they have a Medicare, Medicaid service under it. That is where I would start at the state level. It could go into more, but then when you're talking about healthcare overall, I mean, you can go a number of places. State hospitals, colleges and universities have student health centers. Like, you can run the gamut on where it goes. But again, that's where your MWSB program coordinators can help you get connected to the agencies that buy what you sell.
Did we miss any question, LaPronda? Let me make sure.
Somebody said, I find the government contract payment terms can be long at net 90. Can these terms be negotiated? You can, but I believe, so here in Charlotte, I'll be very honest, this came from your brother, Maria. Charlotte has a very solid payment term in that it's typically 14 to 30 days net.
Okay.
Because we've advocated to pay small business owners in a timely manner. They don't always get it right, but just know that here in the city of Charlotte, it's typically 14 days. Like when I had the contract, the contractor that hired me had to pay me within 14 days of getting a check. That was a red flag that was immediately flagged to the government. So they are adamant about that, and they'll withhold funds from that contractor if they don't pay in a timely manner. For major corporations, that tends to be longer. It can be 60, 90 days. The Department of Transportation is typically a lengthier time. Like, I've been on a contract now since March. I haven't got paid my first check yet. But again, that's where you diversify your revenue, so you're not relying on one entity to pay everything. So it just depends on the agency. I can just say the city of Charlotte has done well. I'm not sure about the city of Atlanta. I know their former procurement director. She was very good about making sure that small business, and Atlanta has always been really progressive about making sure that small business owners not only got contracts, but got paid. In fact, Maynard Jackson set the standard because when he was in office, they had like 70 and 80% contracting goals, and he was meeting them. So just know that, it just depends on where you are in the agency that you're dealing with. And sometimes it's a person within the office that you got to work with that can really just kind of delay everything. You have to stay on them.
All right, so Connie, we do have a question. We have a question from Tommy. Tommy is joining us live. Tommy, can you hear us?
I can.
All right.
Hi, how are you? Oh,
I'm good. Hey, my man. That's my man. Hey,
boy. Because my computer's this way, so I'm not really looking at you guys.
Okay.
But I did have a question because I'm no stranger to Miss LaPronda. So I remember we had a conversation before, and I think it was about a certain industry that I was trying to get in front of. And I think you mentioned that I needed to, what was it? Outreach events is what I needed to attend. So I wanted to see if there's something taking place of that now, being that COVID is going on. So is there anything that can kind of like offset that, or are they like doing outreach events in a different way or anything like that?
No. So here's the beauty of COVID-19 is that most people have to be stationary now.
Okay.
Which means that you can get them on the phone. You don't have to go to an outreach event. You can request a meeting with them, video chat with them, introduce who you are, what you offer and sell, and start going down that path of them supporting you with which departments buy what you sell, who would they give you a warm handoff to the decision maker.
Okay.
Because if they give you the warm handoff, it's not a cold call because it's coming internally. And so let them give you the warm handoff to the decision maker so that they can help you set the meeting up and it be the next step in getting in front of them and assisting you in you offering and pitching to them what you offer them around marketing and branding, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
Most of them are stationary now. So it's the one time you may be able to get them because they're sitting still.
Okay.
So I'll be clear. I don't like outreach events, y'all, for those who are listening. Because for me, it's a dog and pony show. It's their way of checking a box. We showed up, we had tables and signs. Woohoo, we did it and go home. And nobody ever called you. They take your card and throw it in a drawer. It's different when you're intentional about meeting with them. Whether if it's let me take you to lunch, let me offer you dinner, like something to get the decision maker. Well, I'll meet you in your office, but how can you be intentional about meeting them one-on-one or getting someone to give you the warm handoff to them? Because a lot of times they don't like cold calls. They don't know you. We call it government you. They'll government you, meaning put you in a queue and never come back to it. So be intentional about meeting with them. Okay. Which agency are you trying to get into? Is it city or county?
City.
So that will be Eric Nelson for now and Sean Thomas. Sean is in procurement and Eric Nelson is the manager in the city certification office. Be intentional about meeting with them.
Okay.
You can say, LaPronda said I needed to meet with you. Trust me, they know who I am.
I will, now that you gave me the red light, the green light.
Yeah. They're good about meeting with you. So be intentional because now is the time.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good seeing you.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else? All right. Thank you guys again for joining in on our Lunch and Learn. Like I said before, we do a Lunch and Learn at least once a month. We talk about different topics that help you with life and business. Next week, we are talking about buying a home during a pandemic. Is it wise? What should we do? We're going to talk to a principal broker to get those questions answered. So if you do have questions, you can always send them to my inbox as well so we can get those questions answered for you. Thank you so much again, LaPronda. I'm so glad that you joined us today. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed. I hope it helped. I hope it helped everybody. Y'all gonna make some money and happy June.
Go make some money. Exactly. So guys, for those who do not know me, again, I am Dr. Maria, and I always end my show saying today is the first day to the rest of your life. So tell me, how are you doing life? Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.